Have you ever thought what is playing on your mind today, and what is everyone else thinking about? Is it personal stuff, or is it world events? Is it something you saw on social media? Is it just an interaction you had with someone? Like, what plays on your mind, either consciously or subconsciously throughout the day? So, in my case, I think it's mainly world events or something that I saw on social media. So what struck me I saw it a couple of hours ago on, they call it X now, it used to be called Twitter. That's another story. Michael Rappaport. Now, Michael Rappaport, you might not know him, but he is a reasonably well-known actor. Quite a prolific actor. He's successful. I would say he's A-list. Look him up. Anyway, he's also got a podcast. I don't watch his podcast that much because he shouts. He's a shouter. I don't like it when people shout. But then, having said that, I shout as well. Well, anyway. So Michael was talking about the recent Golden Globes Awards. So it was the Golden Globes on Sunday night. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it the last few years. Not since Ricky Gervais did it 4 or 5 years ago. So Michael Rappaport was talking about how embarrassed he is. Or he's saying how the Hollywood community should be embarrassed because nobody made any comment about the hostages. The 133, I think that's the amount, 133 Israeli Jewish or Israeli hostages that Hamas are still holding. Nobody said a word about it. And he is just ashamed and embarrassed. And he went on about how embarrassed he is for over 2 minutes. It's just shocking. He can't understand how nobody at the Golden Globe said a word about the hostages that Hamas are holding. You're aware, 7th of October last year, horrific massacre. I think it was 1,200 or 1,300 Israelis were brutally murdered in the most horrific. They weren't just murdered. It was just can't even go. It's just some of the scenes that I've heard about. It's just I can't even. It kept me up. I couldn't sleep the one night thinking about what went on. It's just too horrific for words. That goes without saying. So Michael is shocked and he's ashamed and he's upset that nobody at the Golden Globes Awards said a word about these hostages. Now, I like Michael Rappaport. He's a good actor. I respect him, and he's got the courage of his convictions. A lot of these celebrities, these high-profile actors, they're worried about their image. They're worried that they're going to be politically incorrect. They're going to upset people. People won't like them. A Hollywood studio won't hire them for a movie because they don't like their politics. So I respect Michael for standing up for his beliefs and not caring. And that's brave and that's courageous and it's to be commendable. But here's the thing, and I don't like to criticize, and maybe I'm guilty of this myself, and I think many of us are. Very often we are insular. We look at our world perspective in a bubble, and we're in like a lager mentality, and we're not thinking broadly from a world perspective and from a holistic perspective, at the bigger picture. So what Michael, in my opinion, somebody like Michael Rappaport and a lot of people throughout the world don't realize is that, yes, what happened on the 7th of October was horrific. And I think 99% of the world was horrified and had great sympathy for what happened to those Jewish people, the Israelis. Horrific. But that was October, November. That's 3.5 months ago already. And since then, with the Israeli Defense Forces' efforts to literally wipe out Hamas in the Gaza Strip, they have killed just over 23,000 Palestinians. And there's been footage of it that's been well documented, it's been recorded, it's all over our news. God, just realized I got some schmutz on my lip. Anyway, please forgive me. So the kind of like, so from a point of the moral high ground and the sympathy that Israel was garnering back on the 7th of October, I think that has dissipated. I think the world has kind of moved on. What's happened in the Gaza Strip is also like, it's different. It's not the same. I'm not comparing, but it's also terrible. It's horrific. All those innocent Palestinians that have been killed, children, like everyone, hospitals have been bombed. Now, so I think you've got to, if I had to sit down with Michael Rappaport, not that I ever will, I would say to him, Michael, it's, just think about it. You can't just focus on the 7th of October, like the bigger picture, like, things have happened since then. But here is the thing, and maybe I'm different. I'm the minority, and I was listening to Howard Stern the other day, and it's an old show. It was from probably around the 28th of October. And Howard Stern conveyed an opinion that I never didn't even think of, didn't cross my mind. But obviously it's something that maybe most Jews and most people around the world believe or think, is that they don't care about the Palestinians in Gaza. It's like, it's revenge. The narrative that I got from Howard Stern, and I think a lot of people agree with Howard, is that the 7th of October was just horrific. It was a massacre. And now what's happened in Gaza, too bad. It's revenge. You want to come and massacre 1,200, 1,300 Israelis. Now you need to pay the price. And there just seems to be this kind of like belief or blind spot that there's no difference between Hamas and the general populace, the general population of Gaza. So there's this feeling that this is the impression I got, 2.5 million people, Palestinians living in Gaza, they're all Hamas. They represent Hamas. I don't accept that. That doesn't make sense. It's what is happening is just any reasonable person would say, hey, this is not right. Yes, you need to get back at Hamas, but then again, how do you get back at Hamas? That's the whole problem. That's the whole problem. Look, I know the benefits of hindsight. This should never have happened in the first place. I mean, my WhatsApp neighborhood group is more vigilant than what the Israeli Defense Force were back 7th of October. I mean, I just assume if you're going to have an enclosure that's smaller than the Kruger National Park, Gaza, what is it, 13 kilometers wide and what is it, 30 kilometers long? I don't remember. Surely you have cameras and surveillance and radar and drones, satellites, huh? If you're gonna blockade 2.5 million people in an area like the Gaza Strip, and apparently only 14,000 people had permits to go in and out of Gaza to go work in Israel. I don't know what those 2,400,000 whatever. Excuse my maths. I don't know what they do in Gaza. It's a complete blockade. Can't go in, can't go out, can't do anything. So that obviously that was a big blunder. And President Netanyahu of Israel, we're going to investigate. They're going to investigate, but let's first take care of Hamas. Let's investigate, and then we'll take care of Hamas. look, it's a difficult situation. How was Israel supposed to react to this terrible massacre? What were they supposed to do? Must they walk around with the t-shirts? Uh, keep calm, like those keep calm shirts. Keep calm. We lost 1,300 people were massacred, tortured, cut to pieces, beheaded. But let's keep calm. What, sell shirts like that? What must they do? What must they do? So some argue they should have gone in by foot and gone into Gaza, and then you would have lost more Israeli soldiers. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is. It's a tricky. But here is the thing. It's just I feel I'm in a difficult situation. I don't know how to react and to relate and to speak about this situation, because in general, if you speak to the Jewish community or people, Jews in Johannesburg, South Africa, or it's like Israel is always right. Israel must bomb Gaza and that's it, end of story. Or if you speak to somebody who supports the Palestinians, it's just emphatic. Palestine, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, and that's it. And it's you either in that camp or you in the other camp, Israeli camp or Palestinian camp, and vice versa. But to me, it's not rational, it's not logical to really take. How do you take sides? Because it's who is right. What happened on the 7th of October was shocking. It was wrong. It was revolting. It was horrific. I've used that word horrific before. But then what Israel is doing in the Gaza, to me, seems unreasonable. But most people if I say that the latter to what I just said about unreasonable, I'll be labeled an anti-Semite. So I don't know what to do. Where do you stand? And so back to what Howard Stern was saying. Just that, to me, it's just wrong. It's unreasonable just to assume that 2.5 million Gazans represent Hamas. No, that doesn't make sense. And then there's the other narrative that I get told. 25% of the Muslims in the world are radicalized. That's what I hear. What does it even mean? What does radicalized even mean? And 25%, how do you know that? Where's the research? How do you know that? There are 2 billion Muslims in the world. 25% are radicalized. What does radicalized mean? Does radicalized mean they've joined Hamas, they've joined ISIS, they've joined Al-Qaeda, and they've taken up arms? So let's do the maths. 10% of 2 billion is 2 million. Is it? No, it's 20 million. It's 20 million. So then 20% is 40 million. So it's 50 million. My maths might be wrong, but let's just say. So imagine, is that 50 million Muslims that are going mad, flying planes into buildings, blowing? No. So this 25, what is radical? What is radical? Does radicalized mean that you're a Muslim and you're sitting in the mosque and you say, hey Muhammad, hey, what's happening? Hey, with those Israelis, man, they terrible. So is Muhammad radicalized? Or do you have to be radicalized? Are you radicalized because you are a terrorist? Or are you violent? Or are you radicalized? What is no? Don't tell me you know what radicalized means. Honestly, it's just people hear these facts. 25% of the Muslims in the world are radicalized. You don't know that. You don't know what, you don't even know what radicalized means. So do me a favor. Anyway.